Good afternoon, everyone. We are Group 7. Our topic is about ownership and organization. It discusses its forms of business ownership, its advantages and disadvantages, and also the legal requirements of each type of ownership and organization.
Things to consider in selecting the best legal form of an organization. First is ownership. It is the first step of any entrepreneur to start or setting up an organization or a business that will be used to formally embark on the business journey. There are four types of ownership of business organization in the business. First is sole proprietorship, second is partnership, corporation, and a cooperative. So ownership is the most and one of the important things to consider in selecting a best legal form of organization. Whether you want to go with sole, nor partnership, or corporation, then you must choose wisely, but it only depends in your resources nor capital in selecting ownership where you can afford. Second is management. Will the owner will manage the firm? Management means who is going to manage the firm or the business. But it depends on the organization. Business organizations that he owns is separate to his legal entity, like corporation. While in sole proprietorship, your 100% management is up to you. You have the freedom or independent to do whatever you want in the business. Next is a financing. How much money is needed to start or purchase the business and what sources might provide it? So there are many ways to finance a business. Like for example, a sole proprietorship where you get money from your own pocket, and a partnership where you pull capitals and services nor assets to form much larger and profitable organization. Next is a liability. Is it desirable to separate the assets of the business firm from personal assets of the owners? Well, it depends on the business organizations that you are to build. That's why you have to consider the liability as one of the things to consider in building a business organization.
Incentives. This great way to ensure that your employees stay motivated to do their job to the best of their ability. By offering something they can achieve if they hit a certain target or achieve something, they have something to work towards. So for example, like bonuses or something that they could reward something for that employees or that workers in a company. Taxation. The reason for this is that each form of business ownership is treated differently by the local taxing authorities. So, depende na siya sa mga legal structure of a business. Kay night times nga, ang owner is lower siya og rate than someone working for a large company. And there are times sad na ang owner kay mas matwice ang iyahang tax, and this is especially the tax imposed by government agencies. Retention of income. How a business profits are shared or not shared is determined by the legal structure. Some owners are willing to share the profits in exchange for assistance and support establishing and running the business. Other business owners make the conscious decision to limit the scope and nature of the business to avoid having to bring in others, thereby retaining all of the income themselves. So, in retention of income, most of the business their net income that is retained is to grow the business rather than being paid out as dividends. Protection. Will the asset values developed on the business over time be preserved if key persons become unavailable because of illness or death? So, for example, a 40-year-old entrepreneur with dependents might seek to protect her accumulated assets, so like young real estate, savings rather, or retirement, etc., and therefore select a legal structure that carries less personal financial risk. Every prospective business owner must gauge what he or she is willing to risk losing and choose a form of business accordingly.
What is sole proprietorship? The sole proprietorship, or let this called a single proprietorship, is a form of business organization initiated, organized, or owned or capitalized and managed by a single person. There are advantages and disadvantages of sole proprietorship. Let's begin with the advantages. First is that easily created and terminated. The sole proprietorship can be brought into existence without any formalities, and it is easily terminated. The second one is direct undiluted action. The ownership, control, and management are vested in one person. And all rewards to the owners is that the owner works for himself or herself and determines his or her own destiny. Flexibility. The owner is free to adapt change readily. Minimum regulation and taxation. Is a proprietorship is generally free from control. So the disadvantages are unlimited liability. The owners must be prepared to satisfy business debts with their own personal assets if the business is unable to meet its obligations. Second one is the capital limitation. Equity capital is limited to the assets of the owner that can be a serious restriction or growth and expansion. Perils of individuals. If the owner dies or becomes seriously ill, the business is immediately jeopardized. And limited skills and capabilities of the sole owner. The skills that can be benefit the business and limited to the skills and capabilities of the owner, which might not be enough for the demands of the business.
Partnership is an association of two or more business partners who co-owns the business for the purpose of making profits. It is a form of business organization wherein two or more persons join together in order to carry out a business. In a partnership, a number of persons are involved and they can pool their resources in order to form and manage a larger business. Moreover, if there is a loss in the business, it can be divided amongst the partners in the partnership firm. Partnership is an agreement between two or more persons who wish to share profits and losses to the partnership firm. However, in a partnership, all the partners do not participate in all activities in the firms for profits and losses equally. These are various types of partners in accordance to their extent liability and their participation in the firm. Types of partners. There are certain types of partners with accordance with their cooperation, with their contribution in the partnership. It includes the capital, the service, and the one who's managing the business. And here are the types of partners. So first is a general partner. General partners are actively partners mainly take part of day-to-day running of the business and also takes active participation in the conduct and the management of the business firm. He carries the business activities on behalf of other partners. And this kind of partner is the most basic partner among. With regards of his role in the partnership, his role is an utmost importance. Therefore, if he wishes to retire from the partnership firm, he must give a public notice about his or her decision. Second is a limited partnership. It's a form of partnership similar to general partnership, except that while a general partnership must have two uh, general partners, a limited partnership must have at least one general partner and at least one limited partner. Limited partnership has no company involvement, unlike general partners who oversee the company and responsible for daily operations, while limited partners have no daily responsibility. Next is silent partners. A partner whose involvement in the partnership is limited to providing capital to the business. These partners seldom involved in the partnership's daily operations and management meetings. So from the word itself, silent partner, he or she is not often involved in partnerships' daily meetings or operations, unlike general partner, but they are both receiving profits. Next is a dominant partner or a sleeping partner. This is a partner who contributes financially to the firm but does not take active part in the administration and the management of the firm. So much more like sleeping partner or dominant is like a silent partner who contribute to the firm, unlike those partners who participate actively in the daily activities in the firm. Dominant partners who just contribute financially, but they both earned and receive profits. Next is a capitalist partner, a partner who contributes money or property to the common fund of the partnership. These partners only contribute his capital in the business, not services, nor participating in daily operations in the firm or in a partnership. Next is managing partners. Managing partners are responsible for guiding the overall strategic directions of the business, as well as managing its daily activities. They are typically also have the stake in the business. There are two options for a manager in a partnership. First, a partner taking those duties, or hire a manager from outside. A managing partner get paid in two ways, as a partner or as a manager. But it's up to the managing partner to decide whether he's going to take the position as a manager as well as the partner of the organization. Next is industrial partners. Industrial partners who is contribute his industry, labor, or services to the partnership. He is also considered the owner of his services, which is a contribution to his funds. Similar to capitalist partner, while industrial partners contribute services or labor, while capitalist partners who contributes only a capital in the business, while industrial contributes services nor labors. Next is a secret partner, the one who takes active part in the business but is not known to be a partner by outside parties. This partner contributes capital and takes active part of the management of the firm's businesses. He shares in the profits and losses of the firms, and his liability is unlimited. However, his connection with the firm is not known from the outside world. Next is a nominal partner. A partner, one who is actually not a partner but who represents himself as one. This partner is the one who allows the use of his or her name by the firm but does not contribute of its capital. He or she does not take active part in managing the firm, nor does not share its profit or losses, but is liable, like other partners, to third parties for the payments of the firm's debt. Last is the liquidating partner, one who is designed to wind up or settle the affairs of the partnership after dissolution. Advantages and disadvantages of partnership. So advantages of partnerships are pooling of resources. This means the larger and the many partners who participate in the business, the larger business organization will be formed. Second is ability to obtain capital. So the more capitalists nor partners, the more capital will be obtained. Third is simplicity and incentive, and limited regulation and taxation. One of the advantages also in a partnership is that in a partnership business, there is a division of labor among partners. Partners can share their ideas and skills that will lead to a better decision making. And also, partnership business will continue if one of the partners is not around. If there are advantages, where partnership has also disadvantages. One of the disadvantages of partnership is unlimited liability. Tenuous existence. Third is independence and management and harmony and coordination. And the last is problems in share liquidation. So unlimited liability. The partners are responsible for the death of the firm, where all of the liabilities of the company will be held responsible will be the owner nor the partners of the business. So unlimited liability will be one of the disadvantages of a partnership. And also one of the disadvantages of a partnership is not a separate legal entity. And it is not easy for a partner to transfer his ownership to another person, since there is need to consult all the partners before any decisions can be taken them, therefore may be delayed.
What is corporation? A corporation is an artificial being, intangible, and exists only in contemplation of law. Also, its owners are the stakeholders who can sell their interest in the corporation.
The advantages of corporation. The limited liability. The liability of a stockholder in a corporation is limited to the amount invested in the stock. And the legal entity is that the corporation is a legal entity. It may own property, but it's not affected by the death or withdrawal of its stockholder. And the ready transferability of ownership is that the shares of stocks can be sold or transferred at will. And obtaining capital is forming a new corporation with a saleable idea can provide opportunities to sell stock to a variety of investors. And employee benefits. The employee benefits is that corporation has a better chance to create incentives for employees. And the disadvantages of corporation is that legal formality and cost. Creating a corporation may require considerable time, effort, and expense, and cost and time involved in the corporation process. In a view of the relatively large number of persons involved in forming a corporation to the cost involved in the time requirement for the formation or incorporation registration process is somewhat longer and difficult. Taxation. The nature of a corporation is subject to certain tax regulations which is more costly from a viewpoint of both national income tax and local government tax rules, and potential loss of control by founders of the corporation. The nature of a corporation as well is the boundary between the powers of the owners or founders and managers of the business may possess as constraint and threat to the founders of stockholders into the corporation.
Cooperative. Republic Act 6938, otherwise known as the Cooperative Code of the Philippines. Cooperative is a duly registered association of persons with a common bond of interest who have voluntarily joined together to achieve a lawful common social or economic end. For example, a food cooperative. So in a food cooperative, the members must be related to the business. So like mga farmers, mga dairies. So like that. So in cooperative focuses on shared responsibility and the welfare of all members rather than the individualism and competitiveness that dominates most private businesses. The name of the business form it says it all. The point is to cooperate with each other, not to compete. And also, making equitable contributions to the capital required and accepting a fair share of the risk and benefits of the undertaking in accordance with universally accepted cooperative principles. So here it follows principles of cooperative. First, open and voluntary membership. Membership is open to all individuals, regardless of their social, political, racial, or religious background or beliefs. In the first principle, so this means that each member of a cooperative becomes a member voluntarily and is not restricted by social, political, or religious discrimination. In fact, anyone who meets the qualifications set by cooperatives bylaws can be a member if he willingly shoulders the responsibility. The second principle is democratic control. Affairs of the organization are administered by personnel elected or appointed in accordance with their approved constitution and bylaws. Members of the primary cooperatives have equal voting rights irrespective of the number of their capital share of stock. So, for example, in a company, there's officers. So, the officers is not, they're not really nag-base sila sa unsay kisay dako og share or kisay gamay og share, mao na siya ma-elect as officers. So, in democratic control, this principle is nagkuhan siya fair. So, ang ilang mga officers is vote na siya. So, na sila nga one man, one vote. The third principle is limited interest on capital. Shared capital receives strictly limited rate of interest. So, for example, ang mga members is nag-loan. So, ang interest nila is naragyo na siya sa minimum rate ang sila. Since kay mostly good ang kanisya nga organization is less ra gani ang mga member ana like kuan man gud ka na ang kanisya nga organization is ang ilahang service is cheaper. So, meaning, kani nga mga less person is, dili kani siya ingon nga mga dato gani. Since kani nga organization, ang ilang main purpose is to serve its members, not to make a profit. The fourth principle is division on net surplus. So kani nga principle is a manifestation of the third principle. So North Plus, in short, savings ni sa company, not a profit. So kani nga savings is i-refund ni nila katong mga nabayaran nila nga mga interest if all are the members nga mga nibayad. So kani siyang surplus is mao ni ang refund nila. So mabalik kato unsa ilang nagasto is mabalik ra nila if there is a surplus or say savings. The fifth principle is cooperative education. All cooperatives are mandated to make provision for the education of their members, officers, employees, and of the general public based on the principles of the cooperatives. So for example, ang usa ka member katong farmer. So sa farmer, if ang inyong organization is need na siya og innovation. So of course, ang kato siya nga na kuan sa farmer nga mga employees or mga workers para ma-aware sila unsay mas dapat i-improve, ma-innovate. So makuan na sila og like mag-workshop or mag-i-train ni sila how to improve their business. Ilahang services. Lastly, cooperation among cooperatives. All cooperatives, in order to best serve the interests of their members and communities, have to actively cooperate with other cooperatives at local, national, and international levels. Advantages and disadvantages of cooperative. So these are few. First advantage, tax privileges. This ability to provide direct benefits to its members and the entire community it serves in the form of relatively rather cheaper products and services consistent with its mission of providing services, rather than existence for purely profit motives. So, kanin siyang organization, since ilang main purpose is to serve its members, not to make a profit. Exempted ni sila sa tax. Since kay mga less naman isa nga person ang mga nikon aning organization. So wala gini sila labot sa mga taxes. Reduce cost and improve products and services. By leveraging their size, cooperatives can more easily obtain discounts on supplies and other materials and services. Suppliers are more likely to give better products and services because they are working with a customer of more substantial size. Consequently, the members of the cooperative can focus on improving products and services. Funding opportunities. So there are a variety of government-sponsored grant programs to help you start. For example, the USDA Rural Development Program offers grants to those establishing and operating new and existing rural development cooperatives. Disadvantages. Inequality of profit distribution. Profits are distributed according to the number of stocks. The enterprising or entrepreneurial member of the cooperative who spent much effort will in turn receive relatively lesser. Inequality of profit distribution. Profits are distributed according to the number of stocks. So, since ang kanigod siya is less raman Inequality of profit distribution. So, the profits are distributed according to the number of stocks. So, sa members, if sa member A, kay gamay ra siyang stock, and then sa member B, kay dako siyang stock, and then sa member A, no, kay effort kaayo. Ang ilang pag-distribute of profits is katulad yun sa number of stock, ang ilahang madawat. Bisag effort pa kaana sa inyong organization or sa inyong business, if gamay gani kag stock, maura jud to ang kuan sa mag-base sa gyud sa stock ang imong madawat nga profit. Obtaining capital through investors. So in cooperatives may suffer from slower cash flow since a member's incentive to contribute depends on how much they use the cooperative services and products. Since kani nga organization is one member, one vote, so katong mga na-officer, for example, ang na-officer ang na-elect is katong mga gamay ra og stock or less ra nga mga person. So ang katong mga Larger investor may choose to invest their money elsewhere because a larger share investment in a cooperative does not translate to greater decision-making power. General requirement and procedures for registration. Registering a single proprietorship. Register the business name with a Department of Trade and Industry under the Bureau of Domestic Trade. Na 2 by 2 nga picture, 2 pieces, and application fee or registration fee or 100. So, in sole proprietorship businesses, kay ma-register ni siya sa DTI registration. So, this is to make sure no other business or organization has the same name as yours. And also to ensure you can go on with establishing your business without any legal hassles along the way. Registering a partnership. Prepare partnership agreement. File the partnership agreement with the SEC. Stands for Securities and Exchange Commission. So, SEC is the investors. This is to protect the investors, maintaining fair and orderly functioning of the securities markets and facilitating capital information. Naay pay filing fee, evaluation of the application by the lawyer and staff of corporate and legal, release of the approved registration is within 15 to 30 days. Registering a corporation. Prepare articles of incorporation and bylaws, bank certification. File articles of incorporation and bylaws with the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission. Pay registration fee, evaluation of application by lawyer and staff of corporate and legal department. Release of approved registration is within 15 to 30 days. So, registering a cooperative, the following documents shall be forwarded to CDA. So, what is CDA? Stands for Cooperative Development Authority. So, this agency that promotes the viability and growth of cooperatives as instruments of equity, social justice, and economic development. It provides its powers, functions, and responsibilities, the governing body, budget and funds, and rule-making power among others. So 4 copies of economic survey with a general statements describing briefly the structure, purpose, economic feasibility, area of operation, size of membership, and other pertinent data. 4 copies of articles of incorporation, together with the bond of accountable officers. 4 copies of bylaws, and lastly, registration fee as prescribed by CDA. So these papers or documents issued by DTA, SEC and CDA upon approval of the registration are instruments which are national in character. After complying with the national agencies, there is the local government code which empowers the local government units to take full administrative control of their respective jurisdiction and make legislation as well as ordinance including katong mga taxes or fees, impositions best fitting to the needs of the locality, and this is where the business registrants is affected. The formal or informal sources. Formal sources, it means sourcing or borrowing funds from organizations or institutions duly authorized by government or by law to extend financial assistance or other forms of support services to business and industry. Informal sources, on the other hand, include those fund sources other than formal sources mandated by law to provide capital or financing to business organizations. So for example, sa usa ka business, ang owner is mo loan siya sa like banks or maglending siya og mga investors. So mo na siya example sa source, formal sources. If ang kanang owner is mo borrow lang siya sa iyang brothers, parents, or let's say outside of the financial system, so mo na siya example sa informal sources.
That's all, guys. Thank you for listening.